Today is my pleasure to present the inaugural Conservation Trailblazer Award. The purpose of this award is to recognize the exemplary contributions of wildlife professionals to the field of game and non-game wildlife conservation, including wildlife and habitat management, applied research, and policy. We are setting the bar very high with our first winner, and the career of Mr. Clay Brewer is to be widely celebrated. Clay spent his career managing public lands, working with private landowners, serving as Bighorn Sheep Program Leader, Regional Director, and then Wildlife Division Director. Most of his notable accomplishments stem from his unique ability to build partnerships and trust and relationships amongst stakeholders. In his current role with the Wild Sheep Foundation, Clay serves as the Bighorn Program's lead, working across North America. Again, his talents to bring people together to manage species across broad landscapes. Please join me in celebrating the career and conservation successes of Mr. Clay Brewer.
At an early age, I was always interested in the outdoors and wild things and wild places, and my wife will tell you I am allergic to people. I spent my life outdoors and in faraway places like this, and so I knew I wanted to do something outside. I was very interested in ranching and really couldn't figure out how to make a living doing that, and so I went to Oklahoma State University and received a bachelor's degree in wildlife management, and about 20 years later I went back to school and received my master's degree and also in wildlife management, and actually went to work for Texas Parks and Wildlife in the State Parks Division, picking up trash and cleaning bathrooms, and I did that to get my foot in the door. Eventually I became the project leader at Elephant Mountain and Sierra Diablo wildlife management areas. And when I started to work at Sierra Diablo, I didn't have access to the management area that I was responsible for. And somewhere along the lines, relations went south. We didn't get along very well, the Texas Parks and Wildlife and landowners, and so there was no way we could continue to function like that. And so I just went door to door, started visiting with people, trying to learn where we went wrong, and started working closely with landowners to achieve the same goals. We all had the same goals in mind. The Texas Bighorn Society and other conservation organizations like Dallas Safari Club, those were groups along with private landowners who brought us to the table. The reason why we were able to achieve success. So I'm proud of the fact that we worked hard to improve those relations and to do what was best for the natural resources of Texas, and restored bighorn sheep to historic levels, to late 1800 population levels. Hey, Devin.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good to see you.
Clay.
Good to see you.
Hey, Kevin. Good to see you.
Look at your plan.
Yeah, I'd like to show you where I'm thinking about doing a little.
As I was getting close to the end of my career, I was looking for something. I felt like it was a time to move on into something else. I knew it was time for me to look for something different. So after 27 years, I wanted to do something on a larger scale. And so I had an opportunity to go to work for the Wild Sheep Foundation and do some worldwide bighorn sheep management rather than Texas specific. And so it was a great opportunity to work and see some of the most beautiful country in the world, and some of the most wild places, and to do wild sheep management west-wide. So I guess one of the things I'm most proud of with the Wild Sheep Foundation is my current work in Mexico. I helped create what's called the Mexico Council for the Conservation and Sustainability of Desert Bighorns in Mexico. And essentially it's a group of leaders, a group of landowners that are committed to restoring desert bighorns throughout every state with wild sheep in Mexico, which is 6 states. And so we have been successful in restoring sheep to places where they haven't been in decades. And so I think that's one of the things I'm most proud of. So I think the continued success of any wildlife management program throughout the West is, I think first of all, you have to remember our past. It's vitally important that we not make the same mistakes that we have, that we learn, that we continue to learn and expand our knowledge through research and other things. And I think it's also important to not repeat the same mistakes that we made, to be creative, to take advantage of the opportunities that exist today that didn't in the past.
I'm so grateful to be the inaugural winner of the Dallas Safari Club's Trailblazer Award. What a tremendous honor. I can think of so many other deserving professionals, and I'm humbled. I wish to thank Dallas Safari Club for the recognition, as well as those responsible for my nomination, including Dr. Sam Cunningham of the Texas Bighorn Society, my good friend Tommy Carruthers, Carter Smith of Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, and Gray Thornton of Wild Sheep Foundation. I also wish to thank my good friend Corey Mason for the opportunity I had to work with such a talented, honorable, and hardworking professional. Last but not least, my wife and family, who allowed me to chase my dreams and agreed to live in some of the most remote places in Texas. In looking back on my career, I can think of very few memories or achievements that doesn't have Dallas Safari Club in them. I'll give you a few examples. I stood on stage at the Dallas Safari Club convention over 20 years ago when I served as the state mule deer, pronghorn, bighorn program leader when we auctioned a bighorn tag that sold for a record $102,000. I've been on a multitude of Texas Bighorn Society wildlife water development projects that Dallas Safari Club funded. I chaired a West-wide wild sheep working group that was supported by Dallas Safari Club, where we tackled issues and developed solutions that benefited wild sheep from Canada to Mexico. More recently, I partnered with Corey Mason and the Dallas Safari Club Foundation to help restore free-ranging desert bighorns in Mexico to every state where they occurred historically. Dallas Safari Club has been there practically every step of the way, and I thank you for your commitment to the natural resources of Texas and worldwide. I grew up in a family with parents who believed if you were awake, you should be working. That philosophy has served me well throughout my career. I told my wife early on when we got married that we would never have any money, but it would certainly be an adventure. And that has been true in both cases. My career allowed me to see things that most will never see, and I'm truly thankful for that. It went by like a flash, but what a ride. Thanks again, and I look forward to the great things we will do together for wild things and wild places.